Hey, how's it going? This is going to be more of a commentary kind of video. My cousin and I, we still get asked the question, why are we even using Linux? There's a lot of reasons, there's a lot of different reasons for using Linux over Windows. So I'll go over some of my personal reasons. The main thing is freedom. Freedom to do what I want with the computer that I own, built, and paid for. To be able to say that this is my computer and I own it. It is mine. I did not have that freedom with Windows. Windows constantly wants to do what it wants to do, whether it's taking screenshots of your desktop, updating whenever it wants to, restarting whenever it wants to, those kinds of things. Linux, you want to go ahead and delete your entire home folder? Go right ahead. You want to go ahead and delete vital system files? Have at it. It gives you the freedom to do that. It gives you the freedom to set up your system in however way, shape, and form you want to do it. That's one major reason for using Linux. I am a very big advocate of right to repair and right to own. I'm a big fan of Louis Rossmann and what that man does. I see all you clippies in the comments, so keep doing what you're doing. I was actually trying to switch my profile picture to a clippy, and for whatever reason, it just wouldn't do it. I kept uploading it and uploading it and uploading it. It wouldn't change it, so I said, screw it. I'll leave Meow as my little profile picture. That's one of the reasons why I switched to Linux personally. Aside from the fact that I don't like where Microsoft and Windows is going, the direction that they're heading. Look, I loved Windows 2000. I loved Windows XP. I love Windows 7. All right, we don't talk about Vista. Windows 7 I feel is like the last good Windows. After that, Windows 10 came around. I wasn't a big fan of it. I had a lot of issues with it. That was the start of the decline, personally. I guess technically Windows 8 was, but I never really used it, so I can't speak for it. But yeah, I don't like where Windows is headed. That's the other reason why I switched over to Linux, because I did not like where Windows is headed. And one of the other reasons why I also switched to Linux is because a lot of self-hosting services, that kind of stuff, networking type things, are revolved around Linux. I mean, yes, technically you could use Windows Server as well, but there's a reason why, probably over 40% of the internet runs on Linux. Okay, we're talking about servers here. And again, it kind of goes back to the whole right to own movement, the right to own what you purchased and bought and paid for. It kind of goes back to that. Aside from my desktop being Linux, I also run a lot of Linux virtual machines. My server is, a hypervisor that runs a bunch of virtual machines that have a bunch of services that I self-host, because the idea of right to own, right? It's the idea of ownership. I don't subscribe to the idea of you will own nothing and be happy. No, I want to be able to do the things that I do with what I paid my hard-earned cash with. We all work to make money, and when we go and buy something, and then all of a sudden that something changes, or they want to do something scummy like that, I'm not okay with that. People are so reliant now on streaming services. They no longer own shows and movies, and as soon as that subscription is up, guess what happens? You no longer have access to it, unless you start to go into the whole piracy thing, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but the idea is that I started off with a Linux desktop, and then little by little, I started doing other things like de-googling my phone. The phone that I'm currently recording Meow with right now is on Graphene, because again, I want to be able to do what I want with my phone. I purchased my phone. I spent my hard-earned cash on my phone. I want to be able to do what I want with my phone. So I have Graphene OS on there, basically a custom operating system for my phone that focuses on privacy. And same thing with Linux. This is a much more private operating system compared to Windows. So I'm a big fan of right to own. I'm a big fan of right to privacy. Setting up virtual machines, setting up your own services. It's another form of, again, keeping your privacy, because if you are the type of person that relies on the cloud and having your photos or your documents on a cloud, look, all a cloud is another person's computer. All of your stuff is just on someone else's computer, and you're relying on that company to basically keep your information, your photos, your documents secure. Do it yourself. Set up Nextcloud, set up SyncThing, something like that, so that you create your own cloud. I know it's been a long time since I previously mentioned I was going to make a video about setting up pfSense or setting up your own router, going into a deeper dive with Proxmox. It's in the works. I just want to do it right, and I want to make sure that I kind of dot all my I's and cross my T's, so to speak, in regards to that little kind of like tutorial. So it's in the works. It will be coming soon, and I'll be starting from scratch. I will be setting up my network from scratch, so you all will be able to kind of see everything, how I set everything up, and basically bring you all along for the ride as I set up all this stuff in a brand new network. As they say in the Final Fantasy 14 content updates and videos or whatever, please look forward to to it. So yeah, those are some of the reasons why I switched to Linux. Basically, freedom to do what I want with the PC that I paid for and built myself with my hands. Privacy, the privacy aspect. Independence, right? In other words, you are not dependent on a company for your cloud backup, those kinds of things. You can set that up yourself. You can even set up, I forgot what it's called. I don't personally have it. Look, I'm not a big TV and movie person, so I don't have it set up. But if you are a big movie or TV person or TV show person, you know, if you have DVDs, stuff like that, you could rip those. You could set it up on a NAS, you know, a network attached storage, and that way you can just watch it on any device, you know, your phone, your computer, or whatever. You know, I plan on making like a little media PC that I have hooked up to a TV in my living room for, you know, those kinds of things. Mostly for me, it's gonna be mostly for gaming, but you know, in case anybody comes over, they want to watch something, then I could set that up as well. And then I think lastly, kind of almost sort of see it as a form of protest. I'm tired of the big tech and corporations just thinking they could do whatever the hell they want in terms of screwing over the consumer. It's always annoyed me. It's always pissed me off. So I'm the type of person that I vote with my wallet. I do the things that, yes, might be annoying and uncomfortable for me in the beginning, but over time will lead to a much better experience. Linux was like that. Graphene OS is like that because, you know, I basically de-Googled. Ironically enough, aside from YouTube, that's, you know, I don't have Google Maps. I don't use Google Docs or any of those kinds of things. You know, all that stuff is stripped off of my phone. And same thing with my system. I don't have any of that stuff on there. I try to stick to as much open source stuff as possible. Obviously, video games are not open source, so I can't do much in regards to that. I'm a big fan of playing video games. I love video games. That's my way of being able to be social with the friends that I have made that no longer live around me. In general, I try as much as I can to stick to free and open source software, and I try to recommend free and open source software to as many people as I can. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But you know what? It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make to know that I'm in a much more private environment. I'm in an environment where I actually control my computer. I actually do control my phone, those kinds of things. Aside from just me rambling and going over a commentary and just basically answering a question that, I mean, I don't get so much anymore, but my cousin still gets. He's reached his 1-year mark of being on Linux. He doesn't see himself going back to Windows anytime soon. He's had a couple of hurdles, headaches along the way, but nothing that we could not figure out together in one way, shape, or form. So if you stuck around this long, thanks. I appreciate it. I'll go ahead and leave you with some email before I go. And as always, have a good one.